It started when I was a teenager. I think I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I went to a ham radio club meeting. I'd been a ham radio operator since I was 12, and I met a blind man, Tim Cranmer, who at the time he was director of services for the blind in Kentucky. And Tim and I were talking, and I was fascinated with how he was able to do things that I would have thought a blind person couldn't do. And Tim and I talked for at least an hour that evening, and he asked me if I would be interested in a part-time job working on Saturdays for him. And of course, I was always interested in earning money, so I said sure. So actually, from when I was 15 or 16 until I was out of college, I worked for Tim all through high school and college. Every Saturday, he called me his Saturday boy, and I would do whatever was necessary to be done around the house. Pay bills, I would read to him, write checks, help him in the wood shop. He was a woodworking guy. And one of the things, my favorite thing to do with him was to build electronic devices. He would have ideas about solving a problem, like how does a blind person measure a voltage or current or whatever. So we would build little circuits, and he would dream them up, and I'd put them together, and we would try them out. And Tim was very much an inventor. He invented a lot of little things for the blind. You might not even remember, but like to say when that you hang over a cup of coffee, that when you fill it, it beeps at you. I used to make these things that put a tone on a tape recording when you were recording a book, and it would mark the pages. It was called a page marker. So I worked for Tim all through college, and after I graduated from college, he would still call me and say, you know, it'd be nice if we could do one of these or one of those. And I remember one day he said, he said, you know, there's no talking calculator for the blind. So he managed to get, I think it was Canon, to donate a calculator, and he asked me if I could make it talk. So I did. I dug into it, got the schematic diagrams, and hooked up a little microprocessor to it, and made that processor output speech to a talking board. And so we made a talking calculator. Actually, you know, come to think of it, it wasn't a talking calculator. It used a thing called the audio tactile display, which it would just beep when you ran your finger across the braille digit that was lit up in that particular column. And Tim eventually patented that and almost sold it to a company to make these devices. But it turns out at that same time, speech became available at a reasonable price. So Telesensory ended up using this, using speech and making a Speech Plus calculator. But that's how I got started in it, and I worked for Tim up until his death, you know, about 5 or 6 years ago.